And if anybody ever asks me, I'm like, dude, your network is your net worth. You hear that all the time, and it's so true.
You're not going to be able to like teach every single person how to change their personality if they're different, but they're at least going to act in a way in your community that you're going to teach and navigate them to. Hi, Alexis.
Hello, Keta.
So nice to see you in person finally. We've been talking about you forever, and I'm so happy that I got to interview you today. How are you?
I am doing amazing. I'm very excited to be here. I was actually just talking to Hunter, and I was telling him the first time that I came to WAP headquarters, I came with my boss. And I was just a little peep in the corner. I didn't say a word because I was just there observing everything. And now coming back again, having a WAP, I'm like, wow.
That's
like
insane.
Full circle.
That's so sick. You know, one of my favorite questions that I love to ask my guests is that, walk me through your journey. Like, do you remember yourself wanting something and desiring something and then achieving that? And you basically just answered that question, remembering yourself like probably a year, like maybe 2 years ago, max?
No.
Not, okay.
Whenever I first came into here?
Yeah, when was it?
That was in May.
Can we like
a couple months
okay
ago.
This is like, okay, we're done with this interview. Okay, tell me everything about you. I'm curious to know, how did you start your high ticket sales? But first of all, explain to our audience what is high ticket sales, because there are a lot of people who are going to learn about it from you.
Yeah, no, for sure. So all high ticket sales is just, it's sales at a high ticket, meaning you're selling something a little expensive, right? But I do it all remotely. And all that means is I just sell things online. Now, I'm not in like product sales, like I'm not in tangible product sales. I'm in digital marketing sales. So I partnered up with an influencer who already did the hard part. They have a course, they have a mentorship, they have a coaching program that they're selling. They do all the marketing. And because they're doing a ton of marketing and people already know, like, and trust the creator, they book a call with that creator, but I'm the one that actually takes the call. So I'm selling a coaching program that somebody else made, and I'm selling it to somebody that already wants to buy the coaching program. So it's very different from traditional sales, just because in this sense, you're not seeking someone to sell to. They're coming to you. So it's very easy to close them because essentially you're not having to do any type of like hard persuading. Like I was telling my friend the other day, I was like, imagine, walking into a Starbucks. You go into Starbucks because you want coffee, right? Now the barista, they are not going to try and convince you, Keta, to buy coffee. You went there because you want coffee, right?
Right.
So that's essentially what I do as a remote closer. Somebody comes to me because they want to buy the course or the program that I'm selling that, again, I didn't make. I found a creator that made it. And then I just sell them the course and I collect a commission.
Love the way you're explaining that, because you're basically telling people listening to you that brand awareness is done, marketing is done, basically sales is done as well. You just close it.
Yep.
But it's not just you close it, right? There's a lot behind that.
Yeah.
So tell us, how did you get there? Because it's not like one day you wake up and you learn how to close a deal, right?
You can't just DM a random influencer and be like, hey, let me close your deal.
So how did you get there? One of the things that I really, really loved about your profile is how you were explaining that you didn't have any education in this space, or you didn't have any prior experience.
Yeah.
You just one day woke up and decided that this was something that you wanted to do. And how did you train yourself to become someone who is making 7 figures now?
Yeah. So the way that I came across remote closing was actually through my network. And if anybody ever asks me, I'm like, dude, your network is your net worth. You hear that all the time, and it's so true. So I knew of a guy who was selling courses, and I asked to like intern for him. So I was interning for him, doing random stuff for him. And then whenever he needed a closer, somebody to close deals for him, he reached out to me. Now, this position kind of landed like in my lap just because he was in my network. But whenever he reached out to me to close for him, I didn't know anything about the offer. I didn't know anything about what he was selling. I didn't have a degree in sales. I didn't have any college degree, didn't have any prior sales experience. And he just needed me at the time. And that's what is great about right now, being a female right now in this space, because the demand for females in remote closing space is huge. So just because...
Why is that?
So what I've been studying, or what research shows, is that women actually have a higher close rate than men. And it's because we are naturally more empathetic. We're naturally better active listeners. We are better at problem solving, and it's easier to trust us. And these are all things that like we were just gifted with because we're women. And there's also another study that shows that gender diverse sales teams generate more revenue. So more and more companies are becoming aware of this, and they're like, dude, we need female closers. So the demand is high. And that's how I landed my position. The demand was there. Now, on my very first sales call ever, again, didn't have experience, didn't have anything, but I actually like rewatched my recording, and I noticed I wasn't even using any like hard sales tactics. I was simply listening to my prospect's problems. I had an answer for him. I became his friend on that sales call. So then whenever I told him, hey, look, this is $5,000, but like you need it, he just trusted me. And he handed me the card info. So my first sales call that I ever took, I closed it for $5,000.
I love this.
Just by being a girl.
I'm
just
just
girls.
a girl.
We're literally just girls.
I'm just a girl. What can I do?
Yeah.
Well, here's what you do. So that's cool. I love listening to all this technical sides of your daily life and like basically job. But I'm very curious to learn more about the person that is hiding behind the screen, right?
Yeah.
Because like I was listening to you today. You're like, oh, can I take my picture away? Like, can I just put the logo? And I love that. Yeah, obviously you're building a business, but I'm always curious to learn about the person that is building stuff. Like, who are you? Where are you coming from?
Yeah.
Take me to your childhood, maybe.
Oh my gosh.
For like, I don't know, for like a few minutes.
Yeah.
And tell me, where did you grow up? Who are your parents? What influenced you to become the person that you are today?
Yeah.
Share anything that you'd like to share.
Definitely. Wow. I'd never get asked this question. So I like that. So I was born and raised in Atlanta, Georgia.
Georgia
yeah, I
girls.
know. Georgia girl. I was born and raised in Atlanta, Georgia. And at a very early age, like my parents separated. I was about like 3 years old, and I was the oldest sibling of 4. And so very early on, I always like, it was kind of ingrained into me to lead, just because like my mom was always working. So I had to figure out how to maintain everything at home while also like going to work, going to school, all that stuff. But when I was really little, I realized I had a passion for like performing. I used to dance, I used to act, and I was like, oh my gosh, like this is what I wanted to do. Like I love acting. It was so fun. And my dreams were crushed very early on because my parents or my mom was just like, there's no Asian actresses out there. Like just go to school. I'm Asian, you know, it's pretty typical, go to school. So I went to college, did the whole thing. I graduated with a marketing degree. I don't even use my marketing degree, but I just had to do it to like show my siblings and stuff that like you can do it. But as far as like influence goes, having a single mom, like realizing like how much she would have to work and how much she did, she would like miss out on my school events and things like that. So it kind of, not necessarily like her not being there clapping for me, it taught me how to clap for myself. And so I've been very big on like, it's not necessarily about where the energy is, it's about where you bring the energy. So ever since that, I was like, I know for a fact, like ever since I was little too, I was like, I love speaking on stage. I love talking. I love podcasts. I love yap. Okay. Hence being a remote closer. So I would just say that I was like, I just needed to be a good influence for my siblings, a good influence on my family. I'm actually like the only one in my family. Everybody always says this. They're like, you are the risk taker of this family. Like everybody else is so scared of everything. And I'm just very much so like, I will do anything. Like I'll try anything. I'll go after anything. Just because I understand that, I don't know, like all of us, we all have one life and we're not living unless we're like doing something that we're passionate about and doing something that kind of scares us a little bit. I like adrenaline.
I love this. And I can relate to that a lot. In my previous podcast, me and the girl, she's a solo traveler, and she's been traveling around the world, and she's making money while solo traveling, and she's teaching others and making money from courses, also teaching other girls how to travel alone while making money, basically. And we were talking about fear, because obviously when you are taking risks in life as a woman, and especially as a young woman, especially when you're going to unknown places in the world, obviously there's fear, but the adventures on the other side, the wows on the other side, on the extreme sides are so good to feel. Why would you ever take over, right? Like, and I can hear that exact same words from you as well, and that's why I love having these conversations with women who are not, I mean, scared, but they're still doing it. They're still making change. They're still going after the things that they maybe didn't even dream before. One of my favorite things that I love to say is that I achieved almost all the dreams that I had as a kid, and I also achieved the dreams that I didn't have, and maybe some other girls had, and I achieved those dreams for them as well. I think this is what you do as well, especially when you're documenting your journey and you're showing and sharing your journey and your path to other women. It's basically showing them that dreams that you have right now, I can achieve, and that means that you can achieve too.
Right.
So when we're talking about influence, obviously you had your influence from, I don't know, the path that you had in your life, whatever. But you are also becoming the person that has influence on other women's life. And how does it feel? Tell me about that. Because I think that's like one of the biggest achievements, me also, like as a content creator, the best feeling that I've ever had and received are just grateful people around me who I influence in a better way and in a good way. So tell me a little bit about that feeling.
It's surreal, to say the least. I was actually talking to one of my friends about this, and because I told you I launched my community like 30 days ago. And before that, I was kind of just, like you said, documenting my life, but I really didn't have any other substance behind just, day in my life, remote closer, this is what I do. But I had that imposter syndrome. I was like, I am not qualified to teach anybody what I do, so I'm just not going to. I kind of like kept my mouth shut. And whenever I launched, I was so scared because I was like, I want to serve these girls to the best of my ability. And I'm so scared that, like, what if they don't see results with what I teach them? Then I suck. Like, I don't want to do it. And I don't know if you've seen, but like in our WAP channel in the achievements tab, these girls, I've worked with them for 30 days. And we have like over 45% of the girls already landing clients, closing deals with no prior sales experience. And then just them saying like, wow, her last call literally changed my life. I've gotten on one-on-one conversations with girls where they're literally like, you didn't change just my life. You changed my kid's life. You changed my family's life.
Oh my God.
And I literally cried. I was like, what the heck? And it's just, to me, it's still so crazy. I will never like take for granted the community that I do have, because those girls, like, they literally mean so much to me. And whenever I see a post in the achievements tab, like, guys, I landed a client, I closed a deal, like, it's insane. I will never get over that feeling.
Yeah, exactly. Like how cool it is knowing that you taught someone something that they are making living of.
Yeah, it's insane.
And they're like taking care of their kids.
It's insane.
That's
I have,
so powerful.
I have a girl, her name is Olivia, and she's 19 years old. She actually lives here in New York. And she was working, like, she is a single mom as well. And she told me, she was like, I came across your TikTok one day and I felt like God answered my prayers. I got on your free training, and whenever you were having your classes in session and stuff and like your enrollments, I enrolled immediately. And then she was like, I had no prior sales experience. I couldn't afford to go to college because it was just me and my mom. And Olivia was one of the first girls to land a client. She actually works with Huncho. I don't know if you know Huncho and Jesse. So she works with them. And she was like, I took 2 sales calls. I closed my second sales call for $6,000 paid in full. I was like, are you kidding me? At the age of 19 years old, if I had known this information at the age of 19, like, I would be mega rich.
Right.
But yeah, I was just like, the very fact that she took that info, 19, and she ripped it, closed her second sales call ever, no prior sales experience, for $6,000. All
that
because
is so cool. So her case and your case and a lot of women closers cases just kind of like tell me that there's obviously like a lot of different characteristics that like a person should have to be able to do high ticket sales. But there's one thing that like always catches my attention, and it's hunger. And when I hear your story connected to that feeling or desire or characteristic, sometimes it becomes like part of your character as well.
Yeah.
But I believe that if you're not hungry, doesn't matter for what, you can't keep pushing and you can't close a deal on your second day or your first day. So what do you think about that?
So I would say that there is a misconception out there that you have to be a good salesperson. You have to be extroverted. You have to have sales experience. You have to be outgoing. Like, I think those are all misconceptions because it's really not true. Like, even if you are introverted, because you are introverted, you're actually a better listener. And then that helps with solving the leads problem and being able to close them. Now, in terms of hunger and drive, I would definitely say that that is really like all you need to be a good closer. Because at the end of the day, people with hunger, people with drive, those are going to be the people that make shit happen. Like, other than that, then yeah, like you said, you're not going to close a deal. And one thing that I teach my girls whenever they're reaching out to clients to close for, I tell them all the time, I'm like, these clients don't care whether or not you have a degree, whether or not you have sales experience, whether or not you are outgoing, this, that, and the third. All they are looking for in that video is your ambition. Because the thing is you can teach someone the art of sales. You can't teach someone to be driven. You can't teach someone to be ambitious. So 1,000% what you're saying is super, super true. I think for me, I was operating off of pure excitement and pure, I need to get the heck out of my 9-to-5 office job. Yes, so whoever I'm talking to, they're getting closed. And so that's what like I was operating off of. I just knew that I wanted a different life for myself. And that was like my driving factor.
What was your 9-to-5 job?
I was in real estate. So I worked, to be honest, as like a freaking VA. All I would do all day long was sit in a little office and send emails all day long. I hated it. I hated my life. Oh my gosh. I mean, the money was okay. Like, I made I think like $4,000 a month. And then I made commission off of any deals that I closed because it was in real estate. But what I hated was the fact that I was immobile. The fact that I was tied to a desk. Like, I couldn't just up and leave whenever I wanted to. And I remember, like, anytime I would want to go on vacation, because, like, okay, I am the type where I have to go on a vacation at least once a quarter. Like, that is bare minimum. Now it's like we travel like once a week. But I remember going into the office and being afraid to ask my boss for time off, and like being afraid to be like, hey, like, I'm going to go do this. Like, can I go do this? But because now being a remote closer, I am not tied to a desk. I get to be literally anywhere in the world. Like, the other week I was just in Colombia. I just came back. And being able to just pick up and take off whenever I want to and bring my girlfriends with me because they're also remote closers, like, that is the best feeling. So yes, financial freedom is great. But for me, it's like time freedom, location freedom. And with remote closing, we achieve all three of those. So
where was the first place that you went?
The very first place that I went, like, as a closer?
I mean, once you quit your 9-to-5 job and you started making money from
Mexico.
Okay.
I remember that. Mexico.
How was it?
It was awesome. And the thing is so earlier how you were mentioning, like, being a closer and having drive, like, it definitely adds to your personality. It's so true. Because even whenever I am on vacation, I'm like constantly like, who can I close right now? Like, who has my money right now that I'm about to collect?
That is the mindset. That is the mindset, people.
Yeah. So even like earlier today, I collected like $1,700 while at the gym. Cause like my brain is like kind of like on like autopilot now where I'm like, I just need to collect all the time. And that's cool. The exact same mentality that all my girls have too, because you attract your tribe. And I told them, I was like, yeah, making $10,000 a month, like, that's bare minimum. Like, in remote closing, like, making $10,000 a month, that's like minimum wage. But whenever you're like top 1%, you will find a way to make it happen every single day, every single second of the day. So
you are very inspirational. I'm about to quit my job and take your course. No, for real.
You can,
For real.
You can be in this office and you can close.
I'm just gonna go to the bathroom. I'll be right. I have to take a call.
Whenever I was working my 9 to 5, this is so funny. So I was working my 9 to 5 and I was closing at the same time because, like, you know, I was still kind of nervous. Like, I was like, okay, yeah, like this is good money, but like I don't know if it's sustainable, right? So I worked my 9 to 5 for like 4 more months while I was part-time closing. But what I would do is like I would go to the door and like stick a blanket under the door and take sales calls in my office so that my boss couldn't hear me.
Hi, boss. If you're watching this now. I was recording a video today and I started saying when I was 19, I had only one job in my entire life. I was also like doing online like entrepreneurship before. Oh, nice. And I only had one job. I was 19 years old. Mm-hmm. And I remember one time my boss calls me and he's like, come to my office. And I go there and he's like, Keta, with this attitude, you're never going to be successful ever in your life. So I quit that day. The next day I started building my online community. And then a year later, I was signing the deal for my first round of investments for my tech company that I built after a year. So your story is so inspirational. But once again, I want to go back to your childhood a little bit because I believe that everything that we do in our adulthood is connected to where we are coming from, the decisions that maybe not us, but maybe our parents made. Yeah. And I think it's always beautiful. Like whenever I see someone inspiring on like, I don't know, like social media, I always want to know like, where did they start from? Like, well, where were the kids that like were loved too much or they were seeking for love? Were they looking for things outside of home or they had so much at home that they wanted to take this outside from home? You know what I mean? So I think these kind of things are very interesting. You said that your parents separated when you were young. Mm-hmm. How did it affect you? Do you think it kind of like gave you more drive in life or it took some love away from you?
I definitely think it gave me more drive, for sure. I like kind of, when I was young, I was just like, I kept myself busy because I had to. I worked at a very young age. Like I worked like when I was like 14 years old illegally at like a bubble tea restaurant because I was like, I need to make money.
She's been always after money. She knows how to get money.
Yeah, but no, I think them separating, it was great for me just because like it did give me that like drive. And then it also taught me that like I don't need a man to make it happen. Like I'm gonna make it happen. Like that part.
Sorry.
That part.
Yes. That's my favorite part.
Yeah, and so that's kind of like how I've operated everything. Just very much so like I can do it on my own. And I luckily have like amazing aunts that love the crap out of me. So I think for me, like I was always raised by women. Like it was always women around me, women doing things. Like my mom, my aunts, they're all business owners as well. And so that played like a really big part in my life where I was like, wow, I don't need a man. I can do it. Yeah,
that's so cool. Honestly, when I started working with women that are making money online and like, you know, helping them, like mentoring them and stuff, I said, I want to make sure that we contribute in making more and more and more girls rich. Yeah. So they don't have to settle for men who are bringing nothing but money on the table. Literally. So if you're with a guy because he has money, I mean, I'm not judging anyone. Once again, like
no, we're judging. I'm judging.
Low-key. But you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, everyone can make their own decisions in life.
I agree.
But being someone because he provides the life that you could do on your own too, not cool.
Yeah,
you can
that's
do
what
too.
I'm saying. That I stand by that like very wholeheartedly. There was one of my like posts was like, don't be one breakup away from being homeless. Like you better get your money up.
Exactly. Oh my God, that's so true.
Because I think too many women nowadays, like society is like, women just, they're like, okay, this man is going to provide like everything for me. Yeah. I think it's great if a man provides. Like, I mean, that's what they're born to do, you know?
Please provide.
But it's like, as a woman though, like high value men, they appreciate high value women. And to me, I don't think being a high value woman is just knowing how to cook and clean anymore. Like, it's like, how are you going to add value to the marketplace? That's the way I see it. And so like for me and my man, like, I'm like, I want to be involved in your business because I'm smart too. Like I know what's good too. And so that's how like I operate in terms of like the man aspect of things.
That is
I don't
beautiful.
think a guy should ever be your Like, I don't think you should ever put a guy on a pedestal. I think if anything, it should be the complete opposite. He should literally worship the ground that I walk on. But he shouldn't be your whole world. If anything, he should add to your world.
Exactly. I remember I used to say this phrase that you shouldn't build your happiness around the person. You should always have your happiness within you. And then the other person coming in your life should be the additional part of this happiness, so that when they go, if they go, or when they go, you're not left with nothing. You're left with your own happiness that you already had.
Yeah.
So I think this is a beautiful way to see the world. And this is how every woman should be seeing the world.
Yes. Another thing too.
We'll influence more and more.
No, we will. Please. Because another thing too is like what women don't understand is like if you are not whole and you are not happy with yourself, you are going to attract another man that is not whole and not happy with himself either.
Yeah.
So you better do the inner work, because then the outer will come to you.
Exactly.
Like you will reflect, or your partner reflects who you are.
Exactly. We have to deal with our own demons. So like, please keep your son's demons at your home. We don't want to deal with that. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. But let's go back to the courses.
Sorry.
No, don't be
too
sorry.
much
I love this. You know, this is the coolest thing about girl chat.
Yeah.
Like, you can just talk about anything. We're just girls.
We're just girls.
What can I do? But anyways, we talked a lot about your high ticket sales, amazing, and you decided to add additional revenue stream to your business, and you decided to start teaching people how to do the same.
Yeah.
Earlier today, you mentioned that doing something is one thing, but then teaching others is another skill, and teaching is really a different skill, and it's very difficult. So first of all, how did you decide, because like you also mentioned imposter syndrome, how did you decide to go into that vertical, and then walk me through the journey from start to here, which is basically 1 month, people, and she already made 100K. So I don't know how did she do that, but please.
Yeah. So I have a mentor. And I will tell girls and guys this, like, you should always have a mentor. You should always have somebody be your North Star, and you just literally follow their footsteps, because why would you not? They shorten your time. And my mentor was basically telling me, like, Alexis, you are posting all this content. You're not driving anybody to anything. You are literally robbing girls right now, because the demand, like I told you before, is super high for girls. And I was like, okay, but I can't teach them. Like, I don't have any value to give them. And he had to break my limiting beliefs. He was like, you did XYZ, so you can teach a girl that hasn't done those things. And I was like, okay, you're right. I should do that. So I slowly started like posting more on TikTok, like just more informational type of videos. And I was like, holy crap, I don't even have a course. I didn't have anything laid out. And my mentor told me, he was like, you don't need to have everything laid out. Just do like a live drip and just post. And whenever you get people to sign up and stuff, like just do live trainings and do it like that. And I was just like, okay. Again, I didn't know anything about anything. I still kind of don't. Like, I still don't have a sales funnel. I still don't have a lot of things. But my mentor, William Rivera, he was the one that was like, this is what we're going to do. He laid out my entire game plan for me. And I just listened. So what I started doing was just posting, going live on Instagram and TikTok, and I was getting people funneled into my free workshop. And on that free workshop, I give out a ton of game. Like, I've had girls just attend that free workshop that couldn't afford my mentorship, and they were like, girl, we landed clients, we closed deals. And I'm like, yeah, I know. Like, the information's there. And so I've only been doing organic these past 30 days. But in my first webinar that